Alright, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about badge locking gear. It's a topic that I did want to delve into at one point and give you guys my opinion on it, because with Azteca Raid, I know I haven't uploaded much content when it came to it, but I know that there was a topic thrown around. It was trending for a while in the community, saying that we should badge lock gear, and I don't think players realize the issues with that. I know some players, like, they have the tech, they can do it. I think people even uploaded a video of how easy it is to do it, but I'm gonna give you my opinion of why they shouldn't do it, right? I don't think badge locking gear, especially for raids, should not happen, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that and give you guys my opinion. So if you guys do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff, and let's talk about it, right? So the idea of badge locking gear all came from the glitch that happened in the hunt house stuff, where you can just open the crown chest, whatever, and players had access to the gear, and everything like that, right? Some players got mad, some content creators got mad. Of course, I didn't pay attention to it because it's mainly for PvP. Players were complaining for the PvP aspect, right? And there's only one or two good pieces for PvP, and it's very niche because the shadow change that happened for pips, which is definitely affected it. But I know players will complain when it comes to PvP. PvE, there wasn't that big of an issue, because PvE, you're just fighting bots, right? There is no big issue, just killing enemies, and you don't have to have specific gear for certain fights, right? They didn't affect PvE in any sort of way, or advanced combat any sort of way, in my opinion. So players were mad that we had access to the gear, and they were just saying badge lock the gear, saying that if they don't defeat the boss and they don't have the badge for defeating the boss, well, they can't use the gear. So make it so they can't even equip it, right? And they've had this tech for a while, right? There used to be vendors in Mirage, and I think there still is, where if you wanted to buy the gear, you had to have a certain badge, right? You can't do anything unless you have the badge to be able to buy it. And players were saying, well, they can't just make a system where you just, you can't equip it if you don't have the badge, which this all stemmed from, of course, the glitch that happened, right? Because they didn't want players to have access to it. Some content creators were complaining about it, and they just said, you know what, hey, just make it so badge locking exists. Now, badge locking has its own issue. Now, think about this in the long run. I don't think people thinking for short term, think about it in the long run. Now, if badge locking existed in raids, now let's say the next raid comes around, whatever it is, right? Whether it be Caramel, Polaris, whatever the raid it could possibly be. Now let's say you want to farm the gear on one, and you only play a certain school in the raid. For example, let's just say I always play balance, right? For some reason, I'm always on my balance school, and I don't want to play on my other schools in the raid because I'm in other guilds, etc., whatever. Now, the issue is, if it's badge locked, I'm not going to be able to wear the gear on my alts. So my other characters that I have, like my Fire, Storm, etc., I can't wear the gear unless I have beaten the raid on that character. And then players were bringing up the idea, well, they could do it where it's like account based, like, hey, if this account already has this badge, well, hey, then they should be able to wear the gear on all their characters, which is a good idea, right? But the idea of this moving forward, of the whole badge locking, it doesn't need to happen, because the only reason that players wanted it is because of the hunt house issue, right? Moving forward, if KI is, they look into their bugs pretty well, and they, make sure we don't have an issue similar to that, we don't need badge locking, right? They can add it as a safety net if they really want to, but I know that there's going to be a lot of bugs just adding in that feature, which I know players have voiced their opinions about that they should add it, but definitely I do not want to be doing the raid on all my characters. Of course, if they implement a system where it's like, hey, if you already have it on your account, then that's fine, right? That's completely fine. I have no issue with it. But if I have to do the raid on all my characters, I'm not for it, really, because depending on which guilds you are in, and maybe you play certain positions in certain guilds, whatever, maybe you just have all your characters in the same guild, whatever, depending on how you play the game, it's going to cause issues, and players just don't realize that, because they're very fixated on the issue at hand temporarily, but not for the long run, right? And when it comes to stuff like that, the KI does not add systems that are just going to be here temporary and then just remove them later, right? If they want to implement a system such as badge locking gear moving forward and implementing it in a way where it's very important and stuff like that, they're going to have to, you know, pay attention to it, adjust it every so forth moving forward. They're not just going to add the system for one raid and then just remove it. You know, it just doesn't seem like a KI thing. It's been like this forever. If they add something, they aren't going to just remove it. They're going to revamp it and bring more attention to it. It was like when ramps came out, or like the gambit spells for PvP, or right, so many players did not like it and people stopped playing because of it, right? But they didn't just remove it, right? Instead they just kept on doing what they're doing, and eventually players actually like using the ramp spells now to gambit either like shields into shields, etc. And people use those in raids now, and it's an important part now when it comes to raids. But for PvP players, a lot of people had their own opinion on it, and they weren't just gonna get rid of it. Of course, stuff happened over time, and now we're in the system where it's still here. They're not just going to get rid of it. So it's the same system with badge locking. If they implement it, it's not just going to be for Hunhao and his Shababa gear, etc. It isn't just going to be just for that. They're going to add it for it to be a permanent system moving forward, and then depending on how they implement it, it's going to affect it in the long run, and players will not be happy, right? But now that someone's beaten the raid, the idea of badge locking just completely has been thrown out the way, because now that someone has defeated the raid, and including other players as well have defeated the raid, now people just don't care about the idea of badge locking. It's just that players had the issue of people having access to the gear literally a couple days early, and they wanted to add badge locking just for them, or even adding permabans, which to me is still wild to think about. But we'll save that for another day. So yeah, badge locking, don't need it. I'll be honest, we don't need it. We just don't. But it was just mainly for the Hunhouse stuff, right? And I don't think they'll add badge locking for other gear, right? Whether it be for the Waldaroo gear or whatever it may be called, the world gear template that we might call it. I probably should upload a template video down the line. I do need to work on some slides talking about the templates and making them straightforward, easy for players to understand. Still working on that. Still working on other sorts of content for the channel. And yeah, so just be on the lookout for all those things, right? A lot of things that are going to be coming on the channel eventually. I'm even pre-recording a bunch of videos at the moment as we speak. I think I uploaded or pre-recorded 2 videos already for extra credits and the Wizard101 stuff. So you guys should see a video, or the video is probably already up by the time you are seeing this. So there's that, and there's some other stuff I have to upload that we're going to be talking about soon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and talking about badge locking. Do you guys want it in the game? I honestly don't for raids. I just don't. Imagine just having to do the raid on all your characters. Some players don't mind it, but the vast majority is going to be like, I do not want to do the raid on certain characters, etc. Moving forward, of course. So that is it for me. Hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.